sulcus. First of all, from the occipital fold to the frontal fold, find the midpoint. Slightly behind the midpoint. Exact is 1.25, right? So 1.5 centimeters behind the midpoint, whatever. So it is not exactly at the midpoint, it is slightly behind the midpoint. It starts from the medial surface. As you can see, it's starting from the medial surface. Right? It is then coming to the superolateral surface, and then it is superolateral surface, and then it is running forward and downwards and ends before the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus. Right? Key points for identification clear?
Yes.
Identifying central sulcus of Rolando is very, very important. Okay? Just in front of it, this gyri that you see, this gyrus that you see, this is the precentral gyrus. On the precentral gyrus, what do we have? Which is primary motor area. Primary motor area, Brodmann's area 4. Okay. So here lies primary motor area. Can someone tell me what is the function of primary motor area?
The cortical ওইটা যায় ওখান থেকে বেড সেলস আছে ওখান থেকে অরিজিনেট করে
provides motor supply to the opposite side, contralateral side. Okay, except pharynx, larynx, face, facial muscles which have bilateral supply. Okay, that is till here pharynx, larynx, face, these muscles receive supply from both the hemispheres. Okay, below that our limbs receive supply just from one side of the hemisphere, contralateral side. Okay, so on the right side supply is coming from left side, right? Okay, so this is the precentral gyrus. What do we have here? Primary motor. Okay. Just in front of it. Okay. What is this sulcus?
superior frontal
This is the superior frontal sulcus. What is this? Inferior frontal sulcus. So what is this gyrus? Superior frontal. This is middle frontal. Inferior frontal. Right. So on the posterior part of the superior frontal gyrus, middle frontal gyrus and inferior frontal gyrus, but in front of the primary motor area lies the premotor area. What did I say? This is the central sulcus. In front of it we have the precentral gyrus, where we have primary motor area, Brodmann's area 4. In front of it, on the posterior part of the superior frontal, middle frontal, inferior frontal gyri, we have the premotor area. The premotor area is thicker on the upper part, is thinner lower. So it's like a pyramid. It's like a triangle. Right? इधर थोड़ा मोटा है, इधर आते आते पतला हो जाता है. ठीक है ना? Both this primary motor area and premotor area extend on the medial surface as well. Okay? Here. Okay. Identify the lateral sulcus. This is the posterior ramus, right? So this has to be the central sulcus, no? So this is the.
This is precentral gyrus, postcentral.
No. On the medial surface, this is paracentral lobule. Paracentral lobule. So if this is the precentral gyrus, whereby lies the primary motor area, this primary motor area extends on the medial surface as well, on the anterior aspect of the paracentral lobule. So the anterior part of the paracentral lobule as well as the precentral gyrus is primary motor area. Got it? Clear? Okay. Similarly, in front of the primary motor area we have premotor area. So the premotor area also goes to the medial side. Clear? Okay. Now again coming back, let's see. Yeah, this is superior frontal sulcus, inferior frontal. So superior frontal gyrus, inferior. On the posterior aspect we have premotor area, right? On the posterior aspect of the middle frontal gyrus, in front of the premotor area, we have another area which is known as
supplementary motor.
No.
Broca's area.
Visual field. Frontal eye field. Okay. Frontal eye field. Area 8. Again, revise. This is central sulcus of Rolando. This is precentral gyrus, where lies primary motor area. Okay. In front of it we have premotor area. Okay. Now considering just the middle frontal gyrus on the posterior aspect, in front of the premotor area we have
Frontal eye field.
Frontal eye field. Clear? Frontal eye field. Now do you remember pars triangularis, pars opercularis? Okay, I'll explain again. So this is the stem of the lateral sulcus, right? Starting from the anterior perforating substance, stem of the lateral sulcus, coming to the superolateral sulcus. Here at the sylvian point, it is dividing into posterior ramus, transverse, ascending, anterior transverse, anterior ascending, and posterior ramus, right? So in between transverse and ascending we have pars triangularis, below it we have pars orbitalis, above we have pars opercularis. In the pars triangularis and pars opercularis of the inferior frontal gyrus we have Broca's area, which is the motor area of speech. What did I say? Are you following, all of you?
Motor area speech, Broca's area.
Konta Broca's area?
Pars opercularis or triangularis?
Pars opercularis, pars triangularis. Brodmann's area 44, 45. Okay. Again, revision. Central sulcus, precentral gyrus, primary motor area. Front of it we have premotor area. This is the middle frontal gyrus. Posterior aspect. In front of the premotor area we have frontal eye field. Okay. Now we have inferior frontal gyrus, where we have pars triangularis and pars opercularis. There lies Broca's area, which is the motor area for speech. Clear? Clear? Okay. Now let's come to the parietal lobe. Parietal lobe, who can tell me the boundaries of parietal lobe? How do we divide the cerebrum into lobes?
Anteriorly central sulcus or posteriorly parieto-occipital sulcus?
Posteriorly parieto-occipital sulcus. Not so?
Lunar. Marginal line.
Imaginary lines. What did I
না
say?
ওটা তো পেছন দিকে তো এই দিকে তো আমার ইমাজিন
So this is the posterior ramus, right? I am extending a imaginary line, right? And another imaginary line goes from
तो उसके बीच में
the preoccipital notch to the parieto-occipital suture. Okay. One imaginary line going like this, another imaginary line extending the posterior ramus. Okay. In front of this imaginary line, which I have extended from the posterior ramus, but behind the central sulcus is the parietal lobe. Right? I will explain again. This is the central sulcus. Behind it is the parietal lobe. But what is the limit? What is the posterior limit? Posterior limit is an imaginary line drawn from the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus. Clear? So this is the parietal lobe. Parietal lobe. Remember I told about intraparietal sulcus. On above the intraparietal sulcus lies superior parietal lobule. Below it lies the inferior parietal lobule. Okay. So we'll try to find the intraparietal sulcus, right? So if this is the central sulcus, এটা ভালো নয়, whatever. So this is the central sulcus. I think this one is the intraparietal sulcus. See, transverse sulcus here, superior parietal lobule, inferior parietal lobule, right?
এই দিকটা ভালো হয়েছে।
এই দিকটা ভালো হয়ে যাচ্ছে কি? দাঁড়া ভাই, এটা সেন্ট্রাল সালকাস, ঠিক আছে? এটা হচ্ছে প্রিসেন্ট্রাল জাইরাস, এটা পোস্ট-সেন্ট্রাল জাইরাস, ঠিক আছে? Okay, what do we have on the post-central gyrus? Primary somatosensory cortex. What is the Brodmann's area? 312. So, central sulcus. In front of it we have primary motor area on the pre-central gyrus. Are you following? And behind the central sulcus we have post-central gyrus, where we have primary somatosensory. So if this is the central sulcus and this is the pre-central, then this has to be the post-central. Here will primary somatosensory area 312, right? If this is the superior parietal lobule, here will lie the Sensory association area. Sensory association area. 5-7. Brodmann's area 5-7. It's getting very difficult and confusing, right? So we'll revise again. Central sulcus. In front of it, all of you. Primary motor area. What is this gyrus called? Precentral gyrus. Yeah, you're right. If this is central, anything before it has to be precentral, and anything behind it is postcentral. Right? So precentral gyrus, we have primary motor area. So on the postcentral gyrus, we will have. If this is motor, this has to be sensory now. Somatosensory area. Primary somatosensory area. Okay? 3-1. Okay. Superior parietal lobule. What will we have?
area 5.
Sensory association area. Sensory association area. Okay, I'll explain the functions. Okay, in brief later on. Let me just start first. First, let us identify, because that is what is important for practical, right? This is not a theory class. Superior parietal lobule, sensory association. Now let's come to temporal. What is this sulcus?
No.
What is this sulcus?
Superior temporal sulcus.
What is this sulcus?
Inferior temporal sulcus.
What is this gyrus?
Medial temporal. Superior temporal.
On the superior surface of the superior temporal gyrus, we have primary auditory cortex or primary auditory area 41-42. Okay, so on the superior surface, okay, on the superior surface of the superior temporal gyrus, we have primary auditory cortex. Those of you who want honors, there is a special gyrus here which is known as Hessel's gyrus. Okay, Heschl''s, Hessel's gyrus. Okay, this Hessel's gyrus is a transverse gyrus. Okay, there are anterior and posterior transverse gyrus. This anterior transverse gyrus is known as Hessel's gyrus, which is present on the superior aspect of the superior temporal gyrus, where primary auditory area is present. अगर simple बनाना है, for simplicity's sake, superior temporal gyrus on the superior aspect of superior temporal gyrus, we have primary auditory area, Brodmann's area 41-42. Just behind it, we have area 22. Okay, and this is where the confusion will start. Anterior part of area 22, we have auditory association area. Okay, auditory association area. On the superior aspect of superior temporal gyrus, we have primary auditory cortex. Just behind it, on the superior temporal gyrus itself, we have area 22. Anterior aspect of area 22 is auditory association area. On the posterior aspect, area 22 is known as Wernicke's area. Okay, Wernicke's area is also present on the superior temporal gyrus, but it is present in the posterior part of the superior temporal gyrus, but it is also Brodmann's area 22. Okay, it is not 39 and 40. The books that you guys follow, Vishram Singh, they say 22, 39, 40 is Wernicke's area. As per AKD and as per Snell's as well, area 22 is Wernicke's. 39 and 40 are not included in Wernicke's area. Okay, so in exams you will say area 22 is Wernicke's area. It is present on the posterior aspect of the superior temporal gyrus. Right? Okay. This is the sensory area for speech, by the way. Broca's was motor speech area, Wernicke's is sensory speech area. Okay. Now, if we trace this posterior ramus of lateral sulcus, this gyrus that you see is the angular gyrus. Okay, and this is the supramarginal gyrus. This is area 39. This is area 40. Okay, angular gyrus is 39. Supramarginal is area 40. Okay. 39 and 40, these are higher association area. Okay.
40 to stereognosis.
39 and 40 are higher association area. Okay, I have talked about sensory association, right? But these are higher association. 39, which is the angular gyrus, receives input from the occipital cortex. Okay, visual cortex. So if area 39 somehow is involved in some disease process, let's just say it is diseased. Okay, there is a lesion here. 39, area 39 is gone. What will happen? It will lead to word blindness. मैं लिखूंगा पर वो देख नहीं पाएगा, एलेक्सिया बोलते हैं इसे, ठीक है। दिस इज एलेक्सिया, दिस इज वर्ड ब्लाइंडनेस, वर्ड ब्लाइंडनेस, ओके।
বাকিগুলো দেখতে পাবে,
বাকিগুলো দেখতে পাবে
মানে এমনি লাইট ফাইট সব দেখতে পাবে।
হ্যাঁ দেখতে পাবে, কারণ ভিজুয়াল এরিয়া তো কাজ করছে।
শুধু ওয়ার্ডগুলো
দেখতে পারবে না, মানে দেখে ওয়ার্ডের সাথে অ্যাসোসিয়েট করা সেটা পারবে,
মানে বুঝতে পারবে,
মানে বুঝতে পারবে না তা নয়। এলেক্সিয়া দেখ বইটা খুলতে হবে, ডিসলেক্সিয়া টাইপের না,
ডিসলেক্সিয়া মানে
আলাদা,
লেটেস্ট
এখানে বেশি দেখি
কিছুই লেখা নেই, এই জন্য বলি এইসব বই পড়বি না।
ওইসব বই পড়ার মতো যোগ্যতা নেই।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, Wernicke's. Let's talk about the lesions in it. If there is any lesion in the Broca's area, right? Broca's area was area 44-45, present in pars. Okay, opercularis and triangularis. It is the motor speech area. What will happen if there is a lesion, if there is a tumor, or if there is ischemia in this area? What will happen?
Non-fluent aphasia.
Non-fluent aphasia. Do you understand what is non-fluent aphasia, all of you? Okay. He will understand. तुम उससे बात कर रहे हो, उसे समझ, सब कुछ समझ में आ रहा है, ठीक है ना। उससे पूछा कि नाम क्या है, ठीक है, वो नाम बोल नहीं पाएगा। उसे पता है उसका नाम क्या है, वो क्या बोलना चाहता है वो भी उसे पता है, पर बोल नहीं पा रहा है, राइट?
बेसिकली
That is non-fluent aphasia or Broca's aphasia, because Broca's area supplies your lips, pharyngeal muscles, right? So words can't be formed. That is non-fluent aphasia or Broca's aphasia. Clear? Okay. What is Wernicke's aphasia?
বলতে পারবে কিন্তু কোনো সেন্স নেই কথা।
He doesn't understand. Whatever you are asking him, he will not understand that, right? And he will say whatever comes to his mouth. Broca's area तो काम कर रहा है, पर Wernicke's area जो कि इंटरप्रेट कर रहा है तुम क्या बोल रहे हो वो काम नहीं कर रहा है, तो इंटरप्रेट तो कर नहीं पा रहा है और उल्टा पुल्टा आंसर दे रहा है, ठीक है। दैट इज फ्लुएंट aphasia और Wernicke's aphasia or sensory aphasia, right? Okay. Wernicke's area and Broca's area are connected by an arch of fibers. They are known as arcuate fibers. Okay. If that arcuate fiber is involved, that is known as conduction aphasia. Okay. And global aphasia is everything is involved. पूरा गया, ठीक है। Broca's aphasia understood, Wernicke's aphasia understood, okay. Arcuate fibers understood. If angular gyrus is involved, that will lead to word blindness. Okay, Wernicke's aphasia is also known as word deafness. Word deafness. बोल रहे हो समझ नहीं पा रहा है तो word deafness. Angular gyrus involved हुआ word blindness. Word blindness, ठीक है ना? And if area 40 is involved, it will lead to astereognosis or visual agnosia. अब ये क्या है? Okay. हम क्रिकेट खेलते हैं ना, बहुत दिनों से खेल रहे हैं सब, तो अगर बोले कि तुम आंख बंद करो और हाथ में बॉल दे दिया, पता नहीं चलेगा क्या ये बॉल है कि नहीं? पता चल जाएगा ना, पकड़ के पता चल जाएगा ये तो बॉल है। मैं देखा नहीं, मुझे कुछ पता नहीं है, पर हाथ में दिया, फील करके समझ जाएगा ये बॉल है। दिस इज नोन एज स्टीरियोग्नोसिस। दिस इज नोन एज स्टीरियोग्नोसिस, ठीक है। एक क्यूब पकड़ा दिया तुम्हें, ठीक है, पकड़ के समझ में आ जाएगा ना कि ये क्यूब है, इसका दिस हैज गॉट 6 सर्फेसेस, सो दिस हैज टू बी अ क्यूब, राइट? This is known as stereognosis. Loss of this ability is known as astereognosis. Got it? Some books say that the superior parietal lobule, which has the sensory association area, if this is affected, this can lead to astereognosis. Some books say if area 40 is involved, that will lead to astereognosis. In exams, my advice would be, whatever they ask you, superior parietal lobule or area 40, say astereognosis. Superior parietal lobule याद नहीं आ रहा है? This is the central sulcus, postcentral gyrus, superior parietal lobule, sensory association area. If sensory association area has some disease, that can also lead to astereognosis. Area 40 will also lead to astereognosis. 39, word blindness. Wernicke's aphasia, word deafness. Broca's area तो गया, बोलने मतलब बोल नहीं पाएगा, non-fluent aphasia, right? Okay. Okay. Now coming to the occipital. Which sulcus is this? Calcarine sulcus. So just along the lips of the calcarine sulcus, along the lips of the calcarine sulcus we have area 17, which is the primary visual cortex. Okay, around the calcarine, even it extends on the superolateral surface, but around the post-calcarine sulcus. This calcarine sulcus, which is extending to the superolateral surface, is known as post-calcarine sulcus. So around the lips of the post-calcarine and the post-calcarine sulcus, we have area 17, which is the primary visual cortex. Okay, the rest of the occipital lobe has area 18, 19, which are visual association areas. Got it? No more details required. Okay. One extra. What is this sulcus? What is this sulcus?
কি প্যারাহিকাম হিপোক্যাম্পাস নাকি
Sulcus, sulcus, gyrus bolini.
sulcus limited.
That
नहीं वो तो साइड
collateral sulcus.
Collateral
Collateral sulcus. Medial to collateral sulcus, this gyrus is parahippocampal gyrus. Parahippocampal gyrus is continuing forward. This is uncus. On the uncus, we have olfactory area. Okay. याद आ रहा है कुछ पढ़ाया तो था. Collateral sulcus, it is continuing forward as the rhinal sulcus. Rhinal sulcus, which is limiting uncus from the temporal lobe, temporal pole, right? Rhinal sulcus. इधर अच्छा दिख जाएगा. So, this is rhinal sulcus. This is rhinal sulcus. It is basically nothing but continuation of. This is uncus. This is the rhinal sulcus. It's the continuation of the collateral sulcus, right? It's dividing the uncus from the temporal pole, right? That's it.
ওটা ওয়ার্ড ব্লাইন্ডনেসটা একবার বললাম ওটা বুঝলাম না
হ্যাঁ এবার হচ্ছে ফাংশন গুলো বলতে থাকি এক এক করে না নাও দ্য ফাংশনস ওকে ফার্স্ট দিস ইজ বেসিক্যালি থিওরি primary motor I have already said, right? Let's come to frontal visual field. Frontal visual field, you remember, it's present in the posterior aspect of the middle frontal gyrus, right? Frontal visual field does two things: conjugate eye movements and voluntary scanning movements. What is voluntary scanning? अगर रास्ते में एक गाड़ी गया तुम्हारे सामने, your eye automatically follows that car for some distance, okay? गाड़ी गया तो तुम ऐसे ऑटोमेटिकली फॉलो करोगे. आई ऑटोमेटिकली फॉलोज इट. दिस इज इनवॉलंटरी स्कैनिंग. ओके, एक रूम में एंटर किया, ऐसे देख लिया, इसे वॉलंटरी स्कैनिंग बोलेंगे. सो वॉलंटरी स्कैनिंग इज रेगुलेटेड बाय फ्रंटल आई फील्ड. ओके, कॉन्जुगेट मूवमेंट्स एंड वॉलंटरी आई फील्ड. ओके, ब्रोकस एरिया बोल दिया, वर्निक्स एरिया बोल दिया, 3940 बोल दिया, राइट? क्या नहीं बोला? प्राइमरी ऑडिटरी एरिया. Auditory area is involved in hearing, right? Auditory association area, what will it do?
মিনিং
Auditory association area also stores memory, okay, in the form of like whatever you have heard. Okay, अच्छा तुम like Ogniv, let's just say, okay, I forgot your name.
আমার নাম
Oh, तो नाम Ogniv, और नाम की Ovik, हाँ, Ovik and Ogniv. So you guys are friends, let's just say. I don't know if you are guys are friends, but let's assume both of you are best friends. And now I ask you to close your eyes, okay? And Ovik comes and whispers into your ears, okay? You will immediately understand that this is Ovik's voice, right? So you're associating Ovik's voice. You have a memory of Ovik's voice, and you're associating that whatever you heard right now. This is the purpose of auditory association area, okay? This is the purpose of auditory association area. All the association areas are like that, even visual association area. You studied from your book. Most of us have photographic memory, right? मुझे पता है कि उस चैप्टर के उस वाले पेज में ऊपर कुछ वैसा लिखा हुआ था. एग्जाम में आता है ना ऐसे याद. That is the purpose of visual association area, है ना? क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया तो उधर लिखा था, उस वाले पेज में ऊपर कुछ तो था, उधर लिखा था. You will remember the page. That is visual association. The purpose of visual association area, right?
visual association.
That's it. 17. That's it. This was all that was there to be discussed in this class. Pretty easy, but you will have to mug up a lot of things. That's it.
আচ্ছা ডিসলেক্সিয়া আর
এলেক্সিয়া মানে হচ্ছে আমি যেটা লিখেছি সেটা পড়তে পারছি, লেখা পড়তে পারছে না. দ্যাট ইজ এলেক্সিয়া. লেখাটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি কিন্তু পড়তে পারছে না.
এখানেও কিছু বুঝতে পারবে না, মানে লেখাটা পড়ে কিছু ওর মাথায়
না না লেখাটা পড়ে ওর মাথায় কিছু ঢুকবে না, সেটা এলেক্সিয়া.
আর ডিসলেক্সিয়া মানে পড়তেই পারছে না.
ডিসলেক্সিয়া মানে হচ্ছে ডিফিকাল্টি ইন রাইটিং বেসিক্যালি. ডিস মানে ডিফিকাল্টি, ডিসফেজিয়া মানে কি? ডিফিকাল্টি ইন ইটিং, সোয়ালোইং, তাই তো. ডিসপ্নিয়া মানে ডিফিকাল্টি ইন ব্রিদিং. এনিথিং উইথ ডিস ইজ ডিফিকাল্টি. দ্যাটস ইট.
मैंने बुक से नहीं पढ़ा है, ওটাই ওয়ার্ড ব্লাইন্ডনেস.
হ্যাঁ, এলেক্সিয়া মানে লিখতেই পারছে, মানে পড়তেই পারছে না, তাই না?